Good morning. I am Kevin Price. Delighted to spend some time with you talking about you and your business. As always, I got a lot to talk about, and I want to jump right straight into it. I've got my good friend Sam Coyl on. He's with Netrepid. That's NETREPID.com. Leaders in the IT arena. Sam, always delighted to have you on. Always delighted to visit with your guests. Kind of give us the elevator speech of Netrepid.
Yeah, sure. Good morning, Kevin. Our Netrepid is a data center provider. We specialize in helping companies evolve their technology from the ground to the cloud, take advantage of new technologies that are out there without incurring a lot of capital expense.
Great. Tell us about your guests today.
Yeah, this morning we have Chua. He is from SDN Network. He's going to talk to us about some of the really cool technology that's coming out in networking space.
Very good. Well, I want to welcome you to the program. Please give us your website to get started.
Absolutely. The website is actually SDN Central. It's just one word, SDNCentral.com.
Excellent. Sam, go ahead with your first question.
Yeah, Roy, I thought maybe you could start off by helping maybe define what software-defined networking is, just for some listeners that may not be familiar with the technology.
Yeah, absolutely. So software-defined networking is a new approach to designing, building, and managing networks. And it came to light about 4 or 5 years ago in research institutions like Stanford and Berkeley, and has taken the networking world by storm. I think the basic concept around SDN is that it separates the network's control, the brains, if you will, from the actual forwarding planes where the packets are actually moved around, to make it easier to optimize each. And if you look at the way most SDN networks are built, there is a SDN controller, which is a key and strategic part of any SDN deployment, which acts as the brains. And what it does is, like a central traffic controller or an air traffic controller, it directs all the different network elements around the network to move packets around in the most optimal way possible.
Let me ask you, Roy, kind of give us an idea who would be a typical client of a company like yours.
So SDN Central is actually more or less a community and resource site. It was started by my business partner, Matt Palmer, and I about 2 years ago. We have about 50,000 community members today that visit the site regularly, and they are generally networking professionals looking to learn more about the latest news, latest analysis, latest events around SDN. And, most importantly, what we offer is a lot of education around what SDN is, its related concept, something called network function virtualization, that's also taking the telecoms world by storm. But we provide a lot of webinars and information for people looking to learn, to deploy, and benefit from these new approaches and technologies.
Very good. Sam?
Yeah, Roy, maybe you could talk a little about, obviously, this whole concept of software-defined networking has really opened up the whole architecture of a network, where you have really more of the hardware manufacturers starting to really build more of an open stack, open source to leverage all this. Are there any specific things that a company might need to know about when they're selecting this type of technology with relation to vendors that maybe you could share with us?
Absolutely. I think general thing around SDN is it is new. So, to be fair to all the SDN vendors and even the mature networking vendors like Cisco and Juniper, who have come up with SDN offerings, that a lot of this is new. And so what we're seeing generally out there in the world is a lot of early deployments, so proof of concepts, limited deployments, limited trials. But I would say that they're pretty successful so far. So if you look at some of the examples out there, look at Google, for instance, who has come up publicly and said that it uses SDN for its inter-data center connects, and the benefits is received from that. You have NTT Communications, one of the largest service providers in the world, based in Japan, that's also benefiting from SDN. And I think recently at a very large conference, Microsoft came out in very great detail, described how they were using SDN for their Microsoft Cloud, the Azure platform, and how it had touched just about every piece of Azure across the entire globe. And so very impressive use of SDN. And so, while on the one hand, for the Fortune 500 and Global 2000s, most of them are still trialing it, trying to figure out what to do with it in proof of concepts. some of the largest organizations in the world have already deployed it and are benefiting from it. And I would say, case in point, AT&T has demanded that in this new, in sort of the new realm, a new domain 2.0, which is the way that look at frameworks and purchasing from vendors. AT&T has demanded that all the vendors come in SDN ready, otherwise they will not be considered as a vendor to AT&T. So if you look at sort of where things are with SDN, it definitely is taking the world by storm, and I think business owners and anyone with any significant data center or networking assets ought to be learning about it and maybe even bringing it in for some early proof of concepts. Just be aware that there are still rough edges, as with any new technologies, and it's going to be a couple of years before it goes mainstream.
Yeah. We're about to run out of time. I do want to mention again that Roy can be found over at SDNcentral.com. And, of course, Sam, he's here all the time. We love what he brings from the Trepid, NTREPID.com. But literally thought leaders in what they do, industry leaders, which is why they're contributors on this show. Sam, wrap it up with your thoughts, maybe with a quick final question for Roy, or however you wish.
Yeah, I just want to point out that we've actually deployed the software-defined networking using in our data center, and it's been a huge improvement. Definitely a lot of great information on SDN Central's website. So if people have questions or just want to learn more about it, definitely encourage them to go out there and check it out.
Gentlemen, thanks to both of you. Do you want to mention again, Sam Coyl, he's with Intrepid, NETREPID.com. And then Roy Chua, he is with SDNcentral.com. Roy, one last question. How does 2014 look for you and your business?
I think it looks very, very nice indeed. The site's grown tremendously, and then we expect to see probably a doubling or tripling of traffic again this year. So definitely speaks to the growth of SDN.
Awesome. Thanks to both of you, gentlemen. Do want to remind you, best content here shows up over there at usdailyreview.com. While there, like it at Facebook, follow it on Twitter. This interview will definitely show up over at usdailyreview.com. Also, do want to remind you, you're listening to The Price of Business.
Turn it up.